the thing I always get tired of hearing is, I don't want to hire him because he just because he's black, because I don't want them to think I'm only hiring black people. Bro, they do it. Welcome to Different Thought, where P is for podcast, and we still ain't talking about Bruno.
Okay. Okay.
Tell me you have a child without telling me you have a child. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Different Thought Podcast, where we examine the culture. I am your host, Mike Hayes, and this is my co-host,
Arius.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you know, you know. All right. So we gonna start off with a little bit of the government. All right. Well, Arius, you know what it is. All right. So let's go ahead and get into things. First, we're gonna start off with take a shot for you. So, Arius, do you want to start off, or do you want me to start off?
I got it, man.
All right, go ahead.
Got it, man. Taking a shot for Grand Crew, because the show is hilarious, and I see so much of myself along with my friends in the show.
I haven't watched it.
I enjoy the dynamic. It's a great show. I like it's intentional about how they show like the different aspects of black culture and how we are dynamic but still the same. So it's really neat how they do that.
All right. What you drinking on, sir?
Little chat whiskey, but the whole town whiskey, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So my shot, of course, y'all know me. I'm extra, so it's 3 shots. I want to first take a shot for all those who supported us for the BET Awards. Thank you, appreciate you for the voting. Although we didn't win, it is what it is. It was a great experience to be nominated and recognized for the hard work that we put in. And with that, I wanted to definitely take a shot for the DTP team, Kyle, Buff. Got mad at me because I didn't mention them last time. Kyle, Buff, Lance, Chuck, Myron, Justin, Kevin, everybody that has been held us down and helping us keep moving this.
What about Ariel?
Oh yeah, of course, Ariel.
Come on, man.
Of course, Ariel. How could I forget?
Out every episode.
I do. I
got you, Ariel.
And then, shout out to my mother. It is her birthday coming up this month, and with it being Women History Month, definitely want to shout out her. She's been an influential figure in my life. So this shot's for you guys, and I'm drinking Chat Whiskey too, representing for the home team this episode. So, All right. Now, straight like that.
You get to go first this time. My
straight like that is like this: find God and make sure my mic sounds nice. If you know, you know. Recently there was Kanye or Ye released Donda 2. He did a listening party for Donda 2, which love the album so far. Hate that you got to pay $200 to listen to it, Kanye. Come on now, Kanye.
Wait, did you saying you?
I did not pay that.
Okay.
He did a live stream.
Okay. I was like,
but towards the end of the live stream, or really throughout the show, but towards the end of the live stream, if you watched it, you do know about the mics acting up, and Kanye kind of threw a mini Ye temper tantrum and threw the mic.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
So, and we all know that the last time somebody messed up on Kanye's sound, he fired them and told them to find God. So,
gotcha.
Find God and make sure my mic sounds nice.
That sounds about right. I'm not surprised. All right.
Go ahead, brother.
I'm next. Okay. My straight like that. Somebody, please, anybody, get Ja Morant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, and somebody else to do the freaking dunk contest. Because NBA All-Star Weekend was great up until that point. And I don't know what rules change they made to allow these dudes to have 3 attempts untimed. But these boys out here, man, all these young dudes just like, yeah, I'm going to try to do all this stuff. They can't even get up to do it. Like, I'm like, if you can't get your best leapers and dunkers and jumpers in the NBA to do it, just don't do it. Or at least make it like the skills contest.
I think they should start bringing in street ballers in for that
or something. You gotta do something because it ain't the same. If your star players aren't participating, it doesn't make sense to do it. Like I understand that they're trying to keep people from getting hurt and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, these dudes are doing these dunks in practice. They doing these dunks in the games. Like even like Giannis's or Ja's mediocre dunks was 10 times better than anything we got.
I don't know about Giannis, but I it's your straight like that. So
Giannis
is not impressive.
I'm saying that just for shock factor, but I'm just saying that. Come on, man. Like why?
It's just so weird to me, man. You had the greats to do it, man. Mike did it. Kobe did it.
Yeah.
Like why? Mike did it in one. Kobe did it in one. So that's one knock I got against LeBron is like, why haven't you?
If anything, he should have done it like when he first got in the league.
Yeah, like why haven't you done it yet?
I can understand now, but like when you first came in, dude, you ain't.
I mean,
Zion, anybody?
Yeah, that's my one knock. I mean, Zion need to lose weight first.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I'm just saying that's my straight like that. Fix that NBA. Fix it.
All right. Well, man, it's been a while since we been down doing this thing. So, what's been up with you? Are you listening?
Dog, man. That's a good Street Fighter name. Man, working and lifing and more working and trying to continue to grow wealth and assets and things and just really just hustling. Got more cars to work on, so who knows, man? Might see Arulus Auto show up sometime on your Instagram and Facebook feed. Who knows, man? I like to do that.
Cool. Speaking of building wealth, gotta put up a little shout out to the Different Thought brand. If you haven't, you need to go ahead and get your hoodies. Your shirts. Check out the
hoodies and your shirts.
Not the link, but the website up
hoodies
here
and your shirts.
On 3 Bridges, and then go into affiliated businesses and click on Different Thought Podcast and check us out, man. Check what we got out there. We got some good stuff. I'm repping right now. Justin's repping for 3 Bridges right now. So make sure you go ahead and check us out. And we got some new heat coming out for you too. So stay tuned for that.
New heat. The hot fire.
So with this being our first episode of season 3, DT Pushin P, and P is for podcast.
Please.
For season 3, which is funny, by the way. If you don't know what Pushin P means, all you young cats out there, I would implore you to go look it up because I don't think y'all realize what y'all saying. But with that said, for this episode, since we're getting back into the groove of things, we're going to do another out-of-the-box episode where Justin and I have both come up with 3 topics of things to discuss. And we're doing things a little different this time. So we're going to do the topic, but we're going to add another segment in here called The Real, which is basically where we discuss or maybe not discuss the elephant in the room, if you will, basically where we talk about the popular opinion and then we introduce the Different Thought. So, with that being said, let's get this thing started. You ready? You ready, Arliss? Are you listening?
I'm as ready as I can be, man. It's gonna be interesting.
You want to pick first? You want me to pick first?
I'll pick first.
All right. Here's the box, sir. I'll get the little drum roll.
There we go. What I got? Number 1 for you, sir.
Okay. So, here is my topic. Recently, there has been a docuseries that was released on Netflix called Genius. It is following Kanye. And the making of the first 2 episodes are basically the making of College Dropout. I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet, but it's out, so go ahead and make sure you check that out. It's really dope. I think it is. And so the real or the popular opinion is basically this. We all knew that Kanye was a genius, but most would say that does not give him the right to act the way that he does, because he acts like a little butthole. I mean, let's be honest. I do know that. But my different thought is this. Why is it that other geniuses like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and other people like that get a pass for being buttholes, But when it's a black woman or black man that is highly revered, we feed into the narrative. We being the black culture feed into the narrative, the negative narrative, and bring our own down. And my one example that really comes to mind for me is like a JFK, MLK. JFK was just as much as a womanizer as MLK, but for some reason, it's really juicy to talk about MLK, especially here recently over time. And so that's kind of my spiel. So Arilis, I'll let you give your little 2 cents on it, and then we can have this discussion on it.
Now, I think the miniseries though, I've intended to dive into it because I wanted to really watch the whole thing all together. Yeah, Kanye, man, he's been the same person. He's just kind of been more enhanced, especially with this crazy stuff since his divorce, or I think he's divorced, and then the new girl, and then not new girl, and he and his mom and all this stuff, man. He's been through a lot. He's got a lot of stuff he's got to deal with. So I mean, at the end of the day, Kanye's still a man, and he's still a human. He's going to deal with stuff. He just unfortunately has a camera on him all the time, or a microphone. So you're just going to hear and see everything that this man does. And I think that's really from my perspective, I think that's the difference in terms of if you're comparing a Steve Jobs or any of these other CEO type personalities, they just happen to be white. To Kanye, that's really the difference to me.
Is that he's in the
he's always in front of TV. You got think about it this way. Imagine a camera or a microphone following Bill Gates around all the time. How boring would that be? Eventually, you might catch something spicy every once in a while, but it's not going to be anything like super salacious. Like Kanye, you can follow him around for half a day, and he's going to do or say something ridiculous.
Well, I think also the thing that I learned watching the first 2 episodes from it was, to be that brilliant, you have to have enough confidence in yourself to step outside of the pocket. Because, not to give too much away, but they talk about the whole relationship with him and Rockefeller, but when he first got onto the label, or just getting into the label, and he had to have enough confidence in himself. And then you also look at to me, it explained a lot from the simple fact of him and his mother's relationship. Like, the thing that really got me was the interaction that he had with his mom. And I know you haven't watched it yet, so I don't want to give too much away.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's documentary. So.
Watching his mannerisms around his mother, and watching how he kind of not dumbed himself down, but how to kind of bowed his head to his mother. But his mother would always lift him. You could see why the loss of his mother took the toll that it's still taking on him, because that was kind of his safe haven in a way. And when he lost that, that's when you start seeing the crazy Kanye. And so, I love the line that she uses, that a giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. I was like, that, talking about keeping your feet on the ground but your head in the clouds. That's Kanye all day. And so he's all, to be a genius, you have to not be afraid to throw crap on the wall and wait for something to stick. And that's kind of what Kanye is. He's like, he's not going to be afraid to tell you what's on his mind at any given point in time. So I think that's interesting. But in the scheme of the different thought, the problem that I have is, and this is, we talk about this all the time, but the problem that I have is the consistency. I understand the TV part, and I understand the publicity part, but it's been documented. But it's been documented several times about a lot of the people I mentioned earlier, that they are just as crazy or just as insane as Kanye. And we as a culture, black people, will throw our own down, but then we'll be like, we'll be saying, Steve Jobs was a influential genius and this and that. Steve Jobs could think the same. He could have thought the same about black people as the next white guy. Or say, for instance, back in the day, Tommy Hilfiger, when he was a big designer in the culture, and he said he didn't want black people wearing his stuff. I remember people still were wearing it. I know it slowly died off. Now, I don't know how true that statement was. I remember being in middle school and that came out, and I don't know what really happened from there. And I'm sure there's more to that story. But, you know, that's kind of my thing is I just believe in consistency. So
consistency is always going to be a challenge in that. I think social inertia is always going to be a factor. You know, there's going to be more people that can see more endearing qualities in a Steve Jobs than there are in a Kanye.
Yeah.
So it's just you just gonna have like, especially today. I mean,
but Kanye changed the whole
Twitter. It don't matter what Kanye changed. It's just about what face people see.
He made people feel like he made a lot of people feel like, you know, I don't have to go to college and take the traditional route because I got to do what I feel is right and I love. He is the personification of work-life balance and doing what you love, you know, to me.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, just on a holistic scale, most people haven't fallen in love with Kanye to look past all that stuff. That's what love is, right? In a relationship, you look past some of the BS to see the greatness. Most people just see it on a surface level.
But what I guess what I'm saying is we give Kanye a short leash, but then we'll give someone else that's not from our culture a longer leash.
I mean, yeah, but I think a lot of the negativity doesn't get out there the same way as it has for Kanye. It doesn't seem like it gets out.
Kanye will be a very overbearing, for lack of better words.
I mean, it's tough to compare anyone in any culture to what Kanye is.
Look at MJ. The fact that he was so timid and he came off as shy or whatever, people.
Jackson or Jordan?
Jackson.
Okay.
The people, heck, even Jordan. Jordan was revered as this, you know, role model, and then the older you got, you were like, man, that man was butthole.
I mean, I think if you had a Kanye in the 90s, it would probably be about the same. But if you had a Jordan today, I think you would have the same type of thing.
Which opens up a whole nother conversation.
Jordan probably wouldn't behave the same way he did in the 90s if he was in the league today.
Or LeBron versus Jordan, just to keep it that way. Like LeBron, to me, to have not a blemish, not a one controversy where he was betting or something. I'm like, dude, in this time, that you doing a lot, and so like it's definitely different. It's a different world. All right,
next.
You ready to move on to the next one?
Yep.
All right, on to the next. On to the next. All right. No drum roll for me.
Oh, hold on. Wait, what is one? It's one of these. Wait. Nope. That was that. I give that to myself for that.
Really, bro? All right. Let's.
Kyle gonna be mad. What he gotta do with that
one? J1. So that's you, brother.
What I put down here? Okay. Might save that one for later, maybe. So this one's gonna be a little bit more geopolitical. You know, y'all can change the channel, whatever, if you're gonna get bored. But like, daggone, man, I don't want to listen to NPR today. No, this one is so the Ukraine crisis. Right now, we're in this period of time where, you know, we got some other stuff going on across the ocean, and it could have detrimental effects worldwide. So most people are like, well, it's over there. I don't have to deal with it here. And then so the question I ask, you know, the popular opinion on all of that stuff that happens in other places is ignorance is bliss. You know, kind of like climate change or anything else for that matter. So the question is ignorance really bliss? So, because I think the thought is it can't touch me, I can't see it, can't smell it, can't feel it, so it must not be real. But the reality is anything that happens on the planet, it affects us in a lot of different ways. So, and me as a person that, you know, that's really big into science, I'm kind of a nerd and understanding like how nature works and how the wildfires in Brazil affect, you know, the air in America. It's kind of like, you know, we have to look at things more holistically now because we can, you know, and we have the opportunity to see what happens around the rest of the world with the internet and everything else. So I think, you know, so the question is, Mike, do you think ignorance is really bliss?
I think it's situational in context. I think ignorance is bliss when you're trying to accomplish something. So for me, in my different thinking and deep thought, I think that sometimes one thing I've noticed, like when I was a kid, I got elected for a lot of leadership positions. And when I started to realize, oh, people look at me as a leader, this, and I'm supposed to do all these, that's when I started to overthink things. And so ignorance for me was I didn't know how hard it was to get in certain positions until I realized that it was hard to get in these positions, and then I overthought how hard it, and so it became that. So in that situation, yes, ignorance is bliss. But I think that in the context of your surroundings and knowing about what's going on around you, no, ignorance is not bliss, because you gotta be in tune with what's going on. You can have a different opinion about it. You can formulate your opinion about it, but I think that sometimes you got to be in tune. I think that you shouldn't be too in tune to where it consumes your life, but I think you should at least have an idea of what's going on. And like with the Ukraine thing, I admit I haven't been as in tune with that as of lately, because you're right, it doesn't affect me right now. But I do realize that this has the potential to affect my day-to-day in other ways, in other areas. So I think that you have to learn when to flip the switch on the whole ignorance is bliss thing, because when you're trying to accomplish something and be bold and things, you gotta just let it ride. But when it comes to being educated about things, you need to educate yourself as much as possible.
Yep. So when it's time to accomplish something and be bold, you got to turn into Kanye, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you, and it does ultimately come down to balance. Like me, I keep in touch with things, but I only watch the news on the weekends. I don't watch the news during the week and all that stuff. I catch up with everything because it's more condensed. It's more consistent.
Dog, do you remember there used to be where news my parents I know used to stay up to like 10 or 11 o'clock just to watch the evening night news. Like now you can get it. It's so accessible to the point where it's just
you can get obsessed with it. It's dangerous.
There's in watching like Netflix. There was getting ready to watch Genius. I was watching some things on Netflix. And I don't know if it was Netflix. It may have not been Netflix. But I saw there was a documentary that I'm really interested in where it was talking about social media and how it has the guy that invented the like button and all these other people on it. And
is it The Social Dilemma?
Yes. Yeah. I want to watch that.
Oh, it's dangerous. It's scary.
Yeah, because they were talking about how they can formulate and basically shape the next war and things of these nations.
It's scary.
And you look at the last election, not the election before last, with Trump and
because
Hillary.
It's all based off of attention. So you got to do the algorithm based on what gets the most likes. People get the most likes. Like you can, basically, you can put the most positive thing ever. I just cured cancer and get 10 likes, but if you just put the word boobs on a post, you'll get 100. So the algorithm figures that out, and it's like, well, how much crazy stuff can we put out there? And then people figure that out just to get more attention because it becomes about the likes and the attention. No, it's crazy.
I want to watch it because I'm very interested because, I've kind of always formulated this in my mind, and this also goes to the whole ignorance is bliss, is not being so educated in what's going on in the social world, because then you become worried about whose feelings you gonna hurt, because right now that's what the world is all about, is feelings and emotions. And sometimes emotions wars have been started off of emotions. Let's just be honest.
Most of them
are started off emotions. So, and we as a nation, as a society, for the world, have become so numb to repercussions and learning how to talk to each other. Where we talk, you see people texting now. It's just crazy. Kids in school talking they automatically get on the Wi-Fi. Like, you don't realize that once you're on that Wi-Fi, the school can look at whatever you're doing, and then they so surprised when they get caught doing something they ain't got no business doing. So yeah, but anyways, you ready for the next one? On to the next. On to the next.
Oh, that kind of drum roll. Yeah, I guess that's me again. All right.
Uh-oh. See what he got.
How much time we got left? Okay, we got some time.
We got time.
We got time. All right. Hopefully, if I get drawn again, this hot one's coming.
Well, just go ahead and do the hot one, bro.
Do the hot one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Black culture is essentially led by prison and stripper culture.
Okay, what's the popular opinion?
Somehow, this one's a little different, but somehow,
okay, well, you
somehow we've managed to allow our culture to be hijacked by strippers, gangsters, and prison culture. Think about it. Everything that we do in what is considered mainstream black culture, popular black culture. I mean, think about it. You got kids, like you said, saying Pushin P today and trying to make it into a positive thing. Where did it come from? You got kids that sag.
So
we sag.
Just let me know when you.
Where did it come from? You got girls out here. You got girls out here talking about women's empowerment, which is all great, but also singing songs, by Megan and Trina. We're gonna take it back, Lil' Kim, all of them, which is fine. But it all kind of comes from stripper culture a little bit, because some of these songs are talking about hijacking, certain amorous activities for the money.
I think
so. I'm just saying, culturally, where people think is popular and things that are what is mainstream and what is good to do, pretty much comes from those three things.
See, I used to think that too, but what I also realized too is, I had this realization the other day of pushing the envelope and when to throw your hat into the whatever the saying is. And one thing I've noticed over the years, if you follow like the history of music, every generation.
We ain't talking about all music though.
No, I know, but let me get there.
All right.
If you look at hip hop, let's take hip hop for example. Hip hop originated from. Do you know?
Tell me.
Jazz. It came from jazz and funk. Mm-hmm. So if you look at jazz and funk, came from rock and roll, or however you want to flip and twist it. That's what I think. And so our blues. And so I think that each generation was trying to push the envelope forward. And so once you keep pushing that envelope, it's like you got to find something new to say or a new way to say it. And so now it just becomes runchier and runchier and runchier. I get that. But I also feel like this, Justin, or Euless, is I'm trying to think about this because y'all know I got ADHD. So I just think I think that's an easy one, like to say that it's ran by stripper and drug culture. But I always go back to this: if you want to change it, change the surroundings. I think that it's ran by that because you have you put everybody in a certain situation, and the only way they feel like they can get out is to how does the verse go? Whether we dribble out this MFA, or write rhymes or riddles out this MFA, it's like my only way, or slang rocks. It's like my only way to that was Jay-Z, by the way. I paraphrased it. But the only way to get out of the situation is to do those things. And, I think the issue really becomes down to why, and we talk about this all the time, we don't do enough reaching back. And so if I only see, because like when I go speak to kids about my profession, They're like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I'm an engineer. What is that? I don't know what that is. This, that. And then when you ask them what they want to be, it's either a ball player, they want to sell rims, they want to be they want to be a rapper. It's never, I'm gonna be an engineer. And I think that's because we don't do enough reaching back and part of the reason we're not reaching back because we're fighting against corporate America to be seen in that realm. And it's kind of like, man, it's crazy that you brought this up. It's kind of like what I think Kanye said it in Genius. Kyle, I don't know if you may know this. He said it in Genius where he was talking about why we wear fancy things. And he was basically saying, like, we get enough money to where we put on nice things to show that, because we want everybody else to know that we have a little money. And that's because of the way systematically over time we felt in the struggle. But I know I'm dancing around your question, but I will say I think that, I mean, stripper culture and drugs and things of that nature do influence things a lot from a pop culture standpoint, but I don't think that's our doing. I think that's more of your major corporations doing. I think that if you look over time in entertainment, they want us to look like that. They want us to look dumb. They want us to be this and that. And I understand what you're about to say is, well, we should take a power in ourselves. But it goes back to what Tupac said, and I've said on this show several times. If you grab I think that pop culture only grabs certain people because they want to keep that narrative going. Is you don't hear the Commons being, world renowned and revered. Jay-Z said it best, and I'm gonna leave it at this. I wanna rap like Common, but I sold 20 mil, so I ain't been rapping like Common since, and I may have got the number wrong. But, I ain't been rapping like Common since. I mean, it's clear, like, money and wealth runs it. I don't think it's drug and stripper. I think it's just greed. Your take.
Well, yes, money definitely controls it all. And I think people understand that. My thought behind it really is that, so from a kid's standpoint, so I think you were alluding to the environment, change the environment, you change the outcome of what's produced in that environment, which I agree with. I think the challenge is going to be, and it has been for at least probably the last 20 years, is that, okay, you got, say, let's pick a city. I don't know, Baltimore. There's a challenging situation there. We know that things are produced there. You might have rappers produced there, all that type of stuff. And then that creates something that gets maybe produced and broadcast mainstream. But the black child in Baltimore may not have the same struggle as the black child in, say, Chattanooga.
Right.
So now that you broadcast whatever is happening in this part or this area,
now I will go with you on this one.
Mainstream. Yeah. Now it's all of a sudden, well, if I
didn't go through that, so I'm not gonna be taking it seriously in this community as the next.
Or so now I have to make myself into that. Yes. In order to conform to be popular.
No, I'm with you 100% there.
That's the thing I have, and I think
it's always trying to one up.
Everybody's trying to one up each other. So now I'm going to take this thing from this person that did this over here because that made them popular and famous, even though my circumstances don't fit that at all. I haven't had any struggle.
Right.
But now I have to do that to become popular. Right. So it's like this constant evolution of conformance, which goes back to prison culture, stripper culture.
I mean,
only because that's where we came from. There's historical context to that.
I think that's the biggest part you got to realize is, like, not you, but in general, is that culture is it derives from slave culture. Yeah. And the downtrodden of black women, they were good enough to bear your child, to take care of your child, to breastfeed your child. I mean, but they still are looked at as a piece of property. Yeah.
And then the sex trade in the Caribbean and all that stuff is all part of that too. So I mean, I guess my point is, and I think we've hit it, but it's just I say all of that to say, be more aware of what you're consuming, because we ultimately are what we eat and what we see and what we hear. No matter what you believe. Some people are like, I just listen to the beat. It's like, no, you consuming it.
You consume it.
You become that.
There's truth to that.
So be aware of what you are allowing yourself to consume or allowing your kids to consume or whatever, because it could have a greater impact than you think on their psychological safety.
And just to add to that, yes, you should be aware, but also I'm gonna keep saying this till I'm blue in the face, is reach back. You have Arulus, Mike, Kyle, we have the influence to change lives and change. We may not change lives by the masses, but we could change one or two that it may eventually change lives. One cool thing about, and I know I'm ruining this for people, spoiler alert, but in Genius, it was kind of touched on. Doug Nificent was the guy that, and No ID were the people who taught Kanye how to make beats, and he respected them, and they helped change the culture, because Kanye came out not talking about drugs and all those things. He was talking more about, the dilemma of going to college and dropping out and following your dreams and things of that nature, or going through a car accident. So I say, I think that's another thing, is a lot of us engineers and big black role models, this is a black role model issue, is that we tend to think that we're not good enough because don't have all the flashy things, so people may not gravitate to us. But if you can change one mind, you never know what that one mind could have the potential of changing a whole culture. So yeah. All right. Who drew? It's my turn. All right. Last one. M2. All right, it's me. All right. I don't know.
He said, ooh.
Let's take this one. This is a hot take. Art Browse. So recently, Grambling University head football coach Hugh Jackman hired Art Browse as his offensive coordinator for the football team. Art Browse has a history of basically, he was at Baylor. He was the head coach at Baylor, and they had several sexual assault charges, and people are now in jail. And so now you have, the popular opinion is, you have this, or the real is, you have Hugh Jackson, who's hired this person, white person, mind you, and basically giving him a second chance at a HBCU. And a lot of people are upset because this is a HBCU, prestige HBCU. Why we gotta waste our time giving this white man a second chance when there's other black people out there to give second chances? So my different thought is this. Why don't we support? Excuse me. No. Excuse me. Is in the room? Is there room for us as a culture to provide second chances to those outside of our community? And if it's not, when will it be?
Is there room for?
Basically, are we as a community or a culture, black culture, at a point where we can give white people second chances when we're in positions of power?
I mean, I think it always goes back to, the essence. Ultimately, the goal is that everybody is equal. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate goal. So the question is, when does that start? And because it's like, if I'm a person in a position of power and I see somebody that maybe needs a second chance or has earned themselves a second chance, no matter what they look like, I guess I can offer them that. And that depends on the relationship that I have with that person. Because like if I had a really good friend of mine that happened to be, white or a different culture or whatever, and I saw they needed help, for me, just in my heart, I'm going to help them. would it be, because in my mind, I guess that would make me the same as, I guess, the quote unquote enemy if I said, nah, I can't help you because, I got to hold this spot for this brother over here, man. And both people may need help. That could be true. That's not mutually exclusive, but it's like, that's a tough one, man. It's like, there's so many variables in it. And it's just, I think those types of things happen on a daily basis. It just so happens to be that this is the circumstances at HBCU. You got a white dude, you got a black coach. Could have picked anybody else maybe, but maybe they good friends or whatever and grew up in that culture. I don't know what their relationship is before this, but I guess that's tough because I don't know at what point do you say that we're all equal now and just just do whatever you feel is right at the moment.
I think this,
because I mean, from a football standpoint, Art Briles to be like, in terms of football and money, Art Briles is like a flea market deal because he is a really good coach that got caught up in some really bad stuff. So if you want to bring notoriety and possibly prestige and attention back to Grambling, Art Briles is a really good pick for that. So from a strategic standpoint, to bring the light and the limelight back to Grambling and put them in a better position, kind of like Deion did with Jackson State, I think that is brilliant, in my opinion. It just happens to be that the complexion of the man is upsetting some other folks.
But see, here's my thing. In terms of coaching, we have, we're not gonna get to talk about it today, but the Flores issue, where you have the NFL, and I know it's the NFL and this is college, but here's the thing. So we as black men our women are not given as many opportunities to show that we're capable and good enough to do these things.
I agree with that.
And so there are a lot, to me, it's a cop-out. Art Briles, yes, is a proven commodity, and he knows offense. That man is an offensive genius. Because when he was at Baylor, they were putting up basketball score numbers. But my issue is that with Hugh is, hey, man, you mean to tell me you couldn't do a little bit more research and find somebody up and coming a black offensive coordinator or a black, coach that could have done just as much, if not more, and been better than didn't have a blemish on his record? So to me, that question is more situational because in this situation, we already have a shortage of black coaches in our field. And why not reach back and give someone else that looks like you an opportunity to excel, and take that risk and put yourself out there? Art Briles, yes, people are going to talk about him, and if he makes it through this storm, they'll talk about him. He'll make it through. He'll be hired. That offense will be crazy, insane good, and then he's gonna get a head coaching job somewhere. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Whereas, why not bring somebody else in that is not as well known? They turn that office around. They are great, and then they get jobs somewhere else.
I think yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it comes down to risk analysis.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
because it's still Grambling and how much cash they got to spend.
But that's my point. If you're gonna get somebody that's not well known, you don't have to pay them that much.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, if you, as a head coach, your job is he's getting hired to turn the team around, and he's trying to do it as quickly as possible.
And I was about to hit on that. It's like, yeah, the pressure is, I got to turn this team around, this, that, and I get that part. But my thing is that to answer my own question is, we're not at a point where we can give others second chances. I think that we can always love each other and help when we can. Mm-hmm. But I think when we're in situations of power, we have to be deliberate.
You have to be deliberate. Yeah,
we have to be deliberate and say, I'm going to give someone that looks like me a shot, and try to reach back and do all that we can. Now, if we exhaust every resource and we can't find it, then yes, you have to go outside. But I think you should deliberately try. And I don't know what you actually tried, but I think this was the way it's being presented and the way it looks like a cop-out. It looks like we know he's a hot commodity and known to do these offenses. Let's go ahead and get him.
It's a quick opportunity to do well. It's just it wasn't well thought out in terms of public backlash. Yeah. Probably most people like, they probably forgot about this. No.
Yeah.
Internet's memory ain't that short. But no, I'm with you, man. I think you do have to definitely be deliberate on it. Yeah, who knows? I mean, because like if that's the case, I mean, Eric Bieniemy. And granted, it's about money too. I mean, like I couldn't imagine if I was, because like the NFL has a lot of black assistant and coordinator type coaches, but nobody in like lead positions. A lot of scarcity in lead positions, but there are a lot of black coaches that are just in assistant roles.
Well, yeah, we can't be. We can be all around them, but we can't be the leader of them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like, but even then, even in that assistant position, it's like you'd have to take a sacrifice. Say if you step down from that to go to a Grambling, you'd have to take a pay cut. And if you're willing to do that,
no, I agree. But I also think that when we're in certain situations, we should be like, you know, the thing I always get tired of hearing, and then we'll wrap this up. The thing I always get tired of hearing is, you know, I don't want to hire him because because he's black. Because, you know, I don't want them to think I'm only hiring black people. Bro, they do it.
Yeah. I mean,
they do it. They do it all the time.
I mean,
and whether they choose not to admit it, but they do it.
Yeah,
like
that's what I don't understand. The only thing I don't understand about that argument, or I guess that gets annoying, is like you just don't have to say it. Like
exactly,
you don't
like they don't say it.
Like nobody
take a page from their book.
Just like, or they, them. I don't care. It just doesn't matter. It's like you don't have to say it. It's like if I choose to hire this person, I just hire them, and I think that harkens back to the social trauma or the psychological trauma that we're still dealing with. Yeah. It's like, just hire the dude. Yeah, he's your friend, just like Belichick's hired his friends or whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. My friends more than likely are going to look like me.
Exactly.
And that's got to be fine.
Yeah.
We got to get past all of this appearance and all of this stuff. It don't matter. But
and then in terms of the whole second chance, it's like basically what I was trying to get at is, you mean to tell me you couldn't find anybody else before you gave this man a second chance?
I think
you had to be the one to give him a second chance.
I think that's a BS excuse. Yeah. We know that on the surface. I think ultimately, if we look at maybe Hughes' track record. It probably. I mean, whether he hired even if he were to hire a coach that looked like him, the dollars, ultimately the goal for hiring somebody that looks like you is for that money to get back into the community somehow. Right. More than likely, the dollars probably wouldn't make it back there anyway.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, all right. So that was episode 1 of season 3. You got anything to add before we get into the before you eat?
301. That's it. Season 3, episode 1.
Oh, I was like, I thought it was something else you were talking about. All right, well, let's get into the before you eat. Today's before you eat is in honor of Women's History Month, and our Black History moment will be on Althea Gibson. Sister Gibson was the first African American tennis player to compete in the U.S. National Championship in 1950, and the first black player to compete at Wimbledon in 1951. Early on in her career, Gibson's success at the American Tennis Association tournaments paved the way for her to attend Florida A&M University on a sports scholarship, where she graduated from the school in 1953. In 1956, it all came together when she won the French Open. Wimbledon and the U.S. Open titles followed in both 1957 and 1958. She won both women's singles and doubles at Wimbledon in 1957, which was celebrated by a ticker tape parade when she returned home to New York City. In all, Gibson powered her way to win 50 singles and doubles championships before turning pro in 1959. With all that being said, as always, I challenge you to go read up on Sister Gibson and find out more about her and other athletes in our culture. And as always, I challenge you to think, do, be different. Thank you for listening to Different Thought Podcast.